The joint communique was signed today in Mbale City after yesterday's joint inspection of the one-stop border at the Malaba and Busia border points. This follows a recent meeting between President Yoweri Museveni and his Kenyan counterpart William Ruto to address trade barriers affecting the business community in the two countries. The two heads of state thereafter directed the two ministers, Kenya's Lee Kinyanjui and Uganda's Wilson Mbadi, to address the persistent issues related to trade barriers. Lee Kinyanjui, who is Kenya's cabinet secretary in the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry, has since directed all the congestion of the trucks at the borders to be cleared within the next 24 hours.
It was agreed that we look at all manners of trade barriers that exist between Kenya and Uganda and try to resolve them. Some of them include the border logistical challenges, where sometimes you can take a day or 2 or 3 before you cross to take your cargo. And yesterday we had a very successful tour, and we made clear instructions that within 24 hours we want to clear the entire backlog that was there.
Lee Kinyanjui says the meeting today resolved to have these trucks cleared in 2 hours, adding that the trucks from Mombasa to Uganda should at least make 4 trips in a month from the current 2 trips per month.
And from here moving forward, we shall use both technology and other administrative and infrastructural measures that we have already agreed to ensure that nobody wastes more than 2 hours at the border for them to be able to come to Uganda or to go to Kenya, so that our people can trade. On average, a truck from Mombasa to Kampala would go like 4 trips if there were no delays, but they had reduced to 2. But if you remove these delays at the border, a truck can do 4 trips within 1 month.
Lee Kinyanjui also says the two countries have resolved to eliminate the current excise duty levied on commodities produced by Uganda and Kenya.
The second issue relates to other barriers that are perceived to be in the way of some excise duties here and there on certain commodities. Again, we have adopted that Kenya will treat products from Uganda as though they are from Kenya. So it will just be a transfer from Uganda to Kenya or Kenya to Uganda.
Lee Kinyanjui maintains that the removal of all trade barriers will increase trade within the East African community and also opens up markets to the entire Africa. An approach, he says, will create jobs for the young people who have been going to foreign countries looking for greener pastures.
The intra-trade within Africa is at about 16%. If you go to other regions, including Europe, is at 48%, others at 60%, but within Africa, trade is at 16%. So, and part of the reason is because there have been too many barriers when we want to trade with each other. And that's what we want to demolish and allow our people to trade. Instead of us exporting our young people to go and work in other continents, where the trade and business is being carried smoothly, we can be able to create those jobs here.
General Wilson Mbadi, Uganda's State Minister for Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, says all the efforts to remove the current trade barriers and the bottlenecks are in line with the promotion of the East African Community Treaty Protocol, especially the Common Market Protocol, which facilitates free movement of capital, and the Customs Union Protocol, which harmonizes trade rules.
Discussed them and come up with solutions that should be able to remove or break these non-tariff barriers that were coming through levy of certain duties that go against the East African Community Treaty and Protocol. So unless you have something, the community treaty and protocols supersedes all other legal frameworks that may be existing and therefore creating those tariffs. What we have agreed on generally is that we must comply with the East African Community Treaty and the protocols.